Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the most important rules of the English language, whether you're a native speaker who's just here to brush up on the finer points, or you're learning English as a second language and you want to really level up your skills. These rules are essential for mastering the English language because, let's face it, sometimes English can be a little bit weird. Like, why do we have so many irregular verbs? And don't even get me started on the whole their situation. But don't worry, we're in this together. Over the next few chapters, we'll break down these essential rules, provide clear examples, and even have a little fun along the way. Let's get started. All right, let's kick things off with a fundamental concept, subject-verb agreement. This is the bedrock, the foundation upon which all grammatically sound sentences are built. The basic idea is pretty straightforward. Singular subjects take singular verbs, and plural subjects take plural verbs. Easy, right? So the cat sleeps on the mat is correct because we have a singular cat taking a singular verb, sleeps. But here's where things can get a little tricky. Sometimes the subject isn't always obvious, especially when we start dealing with collective nouns. For example, a group of owls is called a parliament, which is a singular noun, so we'd say the parliament of owls is magnificent, not magnificent. See, even majestic birds of prey have to follow the rules of grammar. And let's not forget about indefinite pronouns like everyone, someone, and nobody. These guys always take a singular verb. So even though we're talking about a bunch of people, potentially we'd say everyone is here, not everyone are here. Now, I know what you're thinking, John. This seems like a lot to remember. And you're right, it can be. But the good news is that the more you practice, the more second nature it becomes. And trust me, mastering subject-verb agreement is going to make your writing so much stronger and clearer. Plus, think about it this way. When your subject and verb agree, it's like they're working together in perfect harmony, creating a beautiful symphony of language. And who doesn't love a good symphony, right? So we've conquered subject-verb agreement, which means we've officially graduated from grammatically questionable to grammatically, well, at least we're on the right track. Now let's talk about building those sentences up into a structurally sound masterpiece with a little something called sentence structure. Think of a sentence like a house. You wouldn't just start throwing bricks and mortar together willy-nilly, would you? No, you need a plan, a blueprint. And that's what sentence structure gives us, a framework for organizing our thoughts and ideas. At its core, a complete sentence needs two key ingredients: a subject, which is the who or what that's doing the action, and a predicate, which tells us what the subject is doing or being. It's like a two-piece puzzle that fits together to create a complete picture. Of course, sentences can get much more complex than that, with multiple clauses, phrases, and all sorts of grammatical bells and whistles. But no matter how elaborate your sentences become, that fundamental subject-predicate relationship always holds true. And just like with subject-verb agreement, mastering sentence structure is all about practice. Start by paying attention to the sentences you read and write, identifying the subjects, verbs, and objects. Then experiment with different sentence structures like simple sentences, compound sentences, and complex sentences. Remember, building a well-structured sentence is like constructing a sturdy house. It takes time, effort, and maybe a little bit of head-scratching, but the end result is a thing of beauty and functionality. Okay, let's be honest, punctuation doesn't exactly have the most exciting reputation. It's often seen as the dry, technical side of grammar, the stuff that only English teachers get excited about. But I'm here to tell you that punctuation is anything but boring. In fact, it's the secret sauce, the magic ingredient that can make your writing sing. Think about it, a well-placed comma can make all the difference in the world. It can clarify meaning, create pauses, and even add a touch of drama. For example, let's eat grammar versus let's eat. Grammar have drastically different meanings, all thanks to a tiny little comma. And then there's the mighty period, the full stop that brings a sentence to a satisfying close. It's like the final note of a song, the moment where everything comes together. Of course, we can't forget about question marks, which add a touch of inquisitiveness to our writing, and exclamation points, which are like the literary equivalent of fireworks. But punctuation isn't just about adding flair to our writing. It's also about clarity and precision. A misplaced comma or a missing apostrophe can completely change the meaning of a sentence, leading to confusion and misinterpretation. So take the time to learn the rules of punctuation and don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with different punctuation marks and see how they can affect the tone and rhythm of your writing. Time travel might be a distant dream, but in the realm of language, we have the power to manipulate time with the flick of a verb tense. That's right, verb tenses allow us to jump back and forth through time, effortlessly shifting between the past, present, and future. Think of verb tenses as the timekeepers of our sentences, indicating when an action took place or a state of being existed. We use the past tense to reminisce about bygone eras, like when we talk about the good old days of dial-up internet. The present tense keeps us grounded in the here and now, letting us describe the world as we experience it. And then there's the future tense, full of hope and possibility, where we can dream big and make plans for the future. But here's the thing about verb tenses. They can be a little slippery. It's easy to get tripped up by irregular verbs, those rebels of the grammar world that refuse to follow the rules. And then there are the various shades of time within each tense, like the present perfect, past perfect, and future perfect, each with its own subtle nuances. But fear not, aspiring grammarians, mastering verb tenses is like learning to ride a bike. It might seem daunting at first, but with a little practice, you'll be gliding through time like a pro in no time. We've covered a lot of ground in this crash course on mastering English. From the bedrock of subject-verb agreement to the time-bending magic of verb tenses. But let's face it, no matter how hard we try, we're all bound to stumble upon those pesky grammar gremlins that love to trip us up. So in this final chapter, we're going to shine a light on some of the most common mistakes that plague even the most seasoned writers. We'll tackle those notorious homophones that love to masquerade as one another, like they're there and there, as well as the ever-confusing you're and your. We'll also delve into the murky waters of misplaced modifiers, dangling participles, and other grammatical faux pas that can make our writing unclear or, dare I say, even a little bit ridiculous. Remember, even the most skilled writers make mistakes. The key is to be aware of our weaknesses and to develop strategies for catching and correcting those errors before they slip through the cracks. So embrace your inner grammar nerd, keep those dictionaries and style guides close at hand, and never stop learning and growing as a writer. Thanks for watching. We've covered a lot of ground in this video, from the foundations of grammar to some common mistakes to avoid. Remember, mastering English is a journey, not a destination. Keep practicing, keep exploring, and never be afraid to make mistakes. After all, that's how we learn and grow. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more language tips and tricks. See you next time.